Welcome to the DCTV News at Noon program. I'm Jerry Tope.
And I'm Kendra Cook. The Southwest TV Translator Association underwrites the news, and Dolores County Broadcasting Network provides the support for DCTV.
Here at the News at Noon show, we present news we hope you find interesting and report on local issues and events. Call us with your news tips or topics you'd like to see covered at 970-677-4119.
We appreciate you watching DCTV. Today's show is live Wednesday at noon and rebroadcast at 3 and 6 p.m. and re-aired on Saturday at noon, 3 and 6. And for you bibliophiles out there, today is National Book Lovers Day. It's August 9th, 2017, and now here's the news. From the Cortez Journal, Ruben Liska, a former patrol officer with the Cortez Police Department, pled guilty Tuesday in Montezuma County Court to a charge of first-degree official misconduct. Liska resigned from the police department during an internal investigation that started on January 21st, when he was accused of having inappropriate physical contact with someone who reported a crime, according to 22nd Judicial District Attorney Will Furst. He was charged with misconduct in connection with that incident after the Colorado Bureau of Investigation concluded its investigation in April. Montezuma County Judge Jenilyn Lawrence scheduled Liska's sentencing hearing for October 10th at 9 a.m. First-degree official misconduct is a Class 2 misdemeanor under Colorado law. Standard sentences for such a crime include 3 to 12 months in jail and or a fine of $250 to $1,000. First noted in court that Liska could also be sentenced to up to 24 months of probation and or 48 hours of public service, among other sentencing options. Before his resignation, Liska had worked for the Cortez Police Department for less than 1 year. He was hired in July of 2016 after leaving his former job as a patrol deputy in the Montezuma County Sheriff's Office. According to a 2015 performance evaluation from the Sheriff's Office, he was average in most areas of law enforcement work, only falling below department standards in his investigative skills. The evaluation, signed by then Undersheriff Jim Kingery, Lieutenant Vernon Knuckles, and Sergeant Travis Anderson, said he was very outgoing and open-minded and worked well with the community and his fellow officers, though evaluators also said he needed to work on his report writing. No performance evaluations were available from the police department. Liska was one of 2 Montezuma County law enforcement officers to face misconduct charges this year. The other, former Montezuma County Sheriff's Office Sergeant Adam Alcon, pled guilty to first-degree official misconduct on July 16th and was fined $250 plus costs and fees, the minimum sentence for a Class 2 misdemeanor. A Class 6 felony charge, which he faced in connection with the theft of Sheriff's Office equipment, was dropped as part of the plea agreement. The equipment was later returned.
According to the Durango Herald, a highly productive natural gas well tested in the San Juan Basin shows the potential of the Mancos Shale to become a significant new source of the commodity in the U.S. BP announced this Monday. The well test started in June about 7 miles south of the Colorado state line and had the highest production rate seen in the San Juan Basin in the past 14 years. The well achieved an average 30-day initial production rate of 12.9 million cubic feet per day. This result shows our strategic view that significant resource potential exists in the San Juan Basin and gives us confidence to pursue additional development of the Mancos Shale, according to Dale Lawler, CEO of BP's U.S. Lower 48 onshore business. He said, "We believe it could become one of the leading shale players in the U.S. In recent years, experts touted the Mancos Shale formation in the San Juan Basin as a major source of natural gas." According to Christy Zeller, Executive Director of the La Plata County Energy Council, it has the potential to revitalize the San Juan Basin on both sides of the state line. Better technology is making it possible to access the gas and oil reservoirs in the formation. The San Juan Basin is shaped like a bowl, with about 1/3 of it on the Colorado side of the border and the rest in New Mexico. The natural gas could be accessed in Colorado and New Mexico, but the oil is in the southern part of the basin. Wells into the Mancos Shale must be deeper than the traditional coal bed methane wells. BP spokesman Brett Clanton said in an email the test well extended 10,000 feet horizontally and utilized advanced completion techniques. He declined to elaborate on the techniques used. The 10,000-foot lateral is about 3 times the length of a coal bed methane well. Despite the promising test, BP still plans to close its office in Farmington by the end of the year and lay off 40 people. The company is planning to open a satellite office near Aztec, and other employees will be relocated to Durango. Employees at the new office and an office near Navajo Dam will serve the southern San Juan Basin. When asked whether the promising test could lead to new jobs, Clanton said it would depend on the level of investment BP and other companies are able to economically justify. BP is also evaluating whether to drill into the Mancos Shale on the Colorado side of the border. The successful well test took place on assets BP bought from Devon Energy in late 2015. BP bought 580 wells on 33,000 acres in San Juan and Rio Arriba counties in New Mexico from Devon Energy.
From the Durango Herald, days after the Environmental Protection Agency pledged to reconsider damage claims it previously rejected after a mine spill, the agency said Monday it could not review multi-million-dollar requests from the state of New Mexico and the Navajo Nation because both have sued the agency. In a written statement, the EPA said the law prevents it from reconsidering claims from anyone who's filed suit. That could rule out a review of the two largest claims from the 2015 spill in southwest Colorado, which the EPA inadvertently triggered. More than 70 governments, businesses, and individuals sought about $420 million in damages under the Federal Tort Claims Act, which is a way to settle without a lawsuit. The Navajos filed claims for $162 million and New Mexico for $130 million. New Mexico and the Navajos sued the EPA for damages in federal court. An EPA-led contractor crew triggered the release of 3 million gallons of wastewater laden with heavy metals from the inactive Gold King mine in August of 2015. Wastewater was already leaking from the mine, and the crew was doing excavation work ahead of a possible cleanup when it breached a pile of debris holding back water inside the mine. The spill tainted rivers in Colorado, New Mexico, and Utah, turning stretches an eerie yellow-orange and prompting farmers and utilities to stop drawing water. The Navajo Reservation and other Native American lands were also affected. The EPA said the water quality quickly returned to pre-spill levels. In January, near the end of the Obama administration, the EPA said federal law prohibited it from reimbursing any claims for property damage or personal injury, angering members of Congress and local officials. President Donald Trump's appointee to head the agency, Scott Pruitt, pledged during his confirmation hearing he would review that decision. On Friday, the second anniversary of the spill, he announced a new course. A new review is paramount to ensure that those who have in fact suffered losses have a fair opportunity to have their claims heard, he said. Monday's EPA statement appeared to narrow the scope of the review considerably. EPA won't be able to reconsider a claim once the claimant has sued the U.S. in court, which the state of New Mexico and the Navajo Nation have done, their statement read. The EPA designated the Gold King mine and 47 other mining sites in the area a Superfund district and is reviewing options for a cleanup.
From the Cortez Journal, Mark Redwine, the man suspected of killing his 13-year-old son, Dylan, waived his right to an extradition hearing Tuesday in Bellingham, Washington courtroom. As a result, the La Plata County Sheriff's Office is making arrangements to transport Redwine from Bellingham to Durango, where he will be advised of two pending charges: second-degree murder and child abuse resulting in death. A La Plata County grand jury indicted Redwine on the charges last month. He faces 16 to 48 years in prison if convicted of either charge. Redwine was scheduled for an extradition hearing on August the 17th, but an unexpected hearing was held about 3 p.m. Tuesday, at which time Redwine waived his right to extradition, said Megan Graham, spokeswoman for La Plata County. Redwine is suspected of killing his son on November 18 or 19, 2012, shortly after Dylan arrived for a court-ordered visit over the Thanksgiving holiday. Redwine has denied any involvement. Some of Dylan's remains were found June 27, 2013, up Middle Mountain Road, about 8 miles from Redwine's home north of Vallecito Reservoir. Dylan's skull was found in November 2015, which prosecutors have described as a turning point in the multi-year investigation. The skull was located 1.5 miles from the previous remains and had what appeared to be knife markings, according to the indictment. Redwine, a long-haul trucker, was arrested July 21st in Washington State.
From the Cortez Journal, a University of Colorado Boulder faculty member says a petroglyph in New Mexico's Chaco Canyon might represent a total eclipse that occurred there 1,000 years ago. The petroglyph depicts a circle that resembles the sun's outer atmosphere, known as its corona, with tangled protrusions looping off of its edge. Discovered in 1992 during a Chaco Canyon field school for CU Boulder and Fort Lewis College students, led by CU Professor Emeritus J. McKim Kim Malville and then Fort Lewis Professor James Judge, the object may illustrate the total solar eclipse on July 11, 1097. Malville of CU Boulder's Astrophysical and Planetary Sciences Department said, "If one looks at a drawing by a German astronomer of the 1860 total solar eclipse during high solar activity, rays and loops similar to those depicted in the Chaco petroglyph are visible. One tangled loop jutting from the petroglyph circle may illustrate a coronal mass ejection, an eruption that can blow billions of tons of plasma from the sun at several million miles per hour. Interestingly, one can only see those loops with advanced technology." But if the sun was in a quiet phase of its 11-year cycle, one would expect few, if any, coronal ejections, and the likelihood of one occurring during a solar eclipse would be negligible. Quote, "This was a testable hypothesis," Malville said. "It turns out the sun was in a period of very high solar activity at that time, consistent with an active corona and CMEs." Malville and Professor Jose Vaquero of the University of Extremadura in Cáceres, Spain, published a paper on the petroglyph in the Journal of Mediterranean Archaeology and Archaeometry in 2014. The two used several sources to assess the activity of the sun around the time of the 1097 eclipse. That included data from ancient tree rings formed annually and which have been cross-dated to create time series going back thousands of years, and which also contain traces of the isotope carbon-14. Created by cosmic rays hitting Earth's atmosphere, carbon-14 amounts in the tree rings can be correlated with sunspots. The less carbon-14, the more sunspots, which indicates higher solar activity, Malville said. They also used records of naked eye observations of sunspots, which go back several thousand years in China, and looked at historical data compiled by Northern Europeans on the annual number of nights when the northern lights were visible, an indication of intense solar activity. The rock that hosts the petroglyph, known as Piedra del Sol, also has a large spiral petroglyph on its east side that marks sunrise 15 to 17 days before the June solstice. A triangular shadow cast by a large rock on the horizon crosses the center of the spiral at that time. Such a phenomenon may have been used to start a countdown to the summer solstice and related festivities, he said. Two other Chaco Canyon rock art pieces may be related to astronomical events, Malville said. One is thought by some to be a depiction of an AD 1054 supernova bright enough to be visible in the daytime for several weeks, while another resembles a comet, perhaps Halley's Comet, which would have been visible from there in 1066. He said the appearance of the spectacular supernova and comet may have alerted the residents of the canyon to pay attention to powerful and meaningful events in the sky. A list of the August 21st eclipse events in our area is coming up in our High Canyon Country Happenings segment later on in the broadcast. And now, let's take a look at our weather.
Today and tomorrow will be mostly sunny with partly cloudy to mostly cloudy nights. Midnight Thursday will begin slight chances of showers, which will continue through Friday and on into Saturday night. Sunday will be mostly sunny. Winds will still run 5 to 10 miles per hour until Friday and then may drop to 5 for Friday. There's too much disagreement in models to get any consensus on early next week. Scattered to widespread showers and thunderstorms are forecast along a front that will lift through the Gulf Coast and southeast states through Friday. Some of these storms could produce heavy downpours, which may lead to flash flooding. Across the northern tier, another cold frontal system will pass through the Dakotas, upper Midwest, and the Great Lakes region. The front will droop southward into the Central Plains, while the portion over the Great Lakes will stall. Showers and thunderstorms are expected along and east of this system and will persist through Friday morning. Heavy rainfall should focus just east of the southern central Rockies to eastern Kansas and Oklahoma as a disturbance moves out of the Rockies and crosses over the plains by this afternoon. Averages of 1 to 2 inches are forecast, although isolated higher amounts may occur. Flash flooding will be a potential threat, along with a slight risk for severe thunderstorms. Isolated showers and thunderstorms will increase across the Great Basin and portions of California as a low stalls over the region. Today's high is forecast at 81, with the rest of the 5 days all in the lower 80s. Lows are still posted in the upper 50s. Winds of 5 to 10, and Thursday night begins an increase of chances for showers and thunderstorms that will run into Saturday night. And now back to the news.
From the Durango Herald, for aging or injured cyclists with diminished ability to get up and go, E-bikes beckon as a way to keep them in the outdoor pursuit they love. But for some public land managers, the pedal assist bikes are a looming headache. E-bike use has exploded over the past year. Once spurned by cyclists, they're now getting more respect in a cycling industry always on the prowl for the next niche segment. Aspen Velo Bike Shop invested in 20 to 25 e-bikes for its rental fleet and has about that many for sale, said Luke Wampler, who runs the shop with his father and store owner Michael Wampler. They started renting e-bikes last season, which were slow to catch on. Then, in August, we couldn't keep them in shop, he said. The trend continues this year. On a recent Friday, Aspen Velo rented out about a dozen of the pedal assist bikes. E-bikes have a small rechargeable battery that provides assistance while the craft are being pedaled. They typically have 4 settings, the most powerful of which provides enough juice to travel as fast as 20 miles an hour. Wampler said they've been popular with older clientele. 80% of our customer base is gray-haired, he said. Pitkin County Open Space and Trails Director Gary Tenenbaum said the program's rangers are receiving an increased number of reports of scuffles on the trail. By going faster uphill, it's becoming an issue with other trail users. For the most part, people regard e-bikes as motorized vehicles. They are banned on routes where motorized uses are prohibited. E-mountain bikes are allowed on backcountry roads and routes that are open to motorized vehicles. E-bikes may pose a safety issue on a trail where two-way travel is allowed everywhere, but there are steep pitches that lend themselves to high-speed descents. Sight lines are often limited. Uphill traffic has the right-of-way, though some riders are either ignorant or belligerent about the rule. It seems enforcement may become a challenge because e-bikes will also get harder to detect with advances in technology. Interestingly, the Bureau of Land Management often accommodates mountain bikes and motorcycles on the same trails. Tenenbaum said the public will get ample opportunity this winter to weigh in on the open space and trail program's policy. Meanwhile, his staff is urging the bike rental shops to educate their customers about closures. Rangers will continue to try to manage the appropriate use on each designated trail.
Big business often means big pollution. It's been a known problem for a long time. In environmental issues, one of the biggest, least dealt with offenders is the ocean-going shipping industry. It is cheaper to register a freighter in Panama or Liberia or some such than to meet legal requirements in so-called first world countries. The battle against pollution and global warming helped to pressure the industry to work harder on the issues. As far as the bottom line goes, a more fuel-efficient ship means more money in corporate coffers. One modification tested a propeller attachment that resulted in a 2.5% fuel saving over a year that saved $750,000 and a projected $19 million over a 25-year estimated lifespan of the ship. Another test of the air bubble system hopes to produce 10 to 15% drop in CO2 emissions. Bulbous bows can reduce fuel costs by 8% and CO2 by 23%. But efforts need to continue. Huge business interests affecting national security and economy for almost every nation on Earth are involved. These monster supertanker and container carrying ships use tons of fuel per hour of operation. In 1 year, a single large container ship can emit cancer and asthma causing pollutants equivalent to 50 million cars. So, as a 25% reduction in fuel usage can have a huge worldwide effect. In 2016, there were an estimated 51,405 merchant ships, of which 16,900 were bulk carriers. Lithium batteries for cameras, cell phones, and cars, and now the big boys, the ships. Sean Polchastalski, VP of Strategic Marketing and Accounts at Corvus Energy, says the worst fuel used by big ocean-going vessels is called heavy fuel oil. If ships are operating in an area where there's not a limit on emissions, they produce a ton of carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, and nitrous oxide, and particulate matter. Basically, it's all the bad stuff that's already been regulated out of on-the-road vehicles. Obviously, it's terrible for the environment to have these huge vessels creating these kinds of waste products. Corvus is a large-scale producer of batteries that can be used in huge ships, port equipment, and offshore oil rigs. Working on making its lithium-ion cells as efficient as possible, the startup has already made a difference by transforming the toxic emissions pumped out by the maritime industry. With their batteries, Polchowski says it's possible to get big ships and heavy equipment down to the equivalent of a car's emissions. Corvus Energy is located in the Pacific Northwest in Vancouver.
From the Durango Herald and beyond, it's County Fair time. Yes, it's time for the annual La Plata County Fair, a showcase of the county's best farmers and ranchers. The fair will be held from August 9th to the 13th at the La Plata County Fairgrounds, 2500 Main Avenue in Durango. This year's La Plata County Fair honors the multiple generations of families that have come together for more than 70 years in celebration of the county's best livestock, produce, and talent. The fair's theme is A Living Legacy. Texas singer-songwriter Kyle Park will give a concert at 6:30 p.m. on Friday at the Rodeo Arena. Quote, "We haven't had a concert here in 30 years, said Amy Peterson, president of the La Plata County Fair Board of Directors. Denver-based country group Shotgun Lullaby will open the show. Tickets are available online at durangoconcerts.com or at the venue. Peterson said the open class quilting competition has grown more than most. Additionally, the number of vendors participating in the fair has grown exponentially. The fair has evolved over the years to include a variety of events that one might not typically associate with a county fair, including model rocketry, robotics, and engineering. The 4-H kids do all sorts of things. It's not just rural stuff. There's something for everyone, they said. And the San Juan County Fair in Monticello already kicked off on August 4th and runs through the 12th. Their big music event is this Thursday night with Colin Ray at the fairgrounds. Check out sanjuancountyfair.com for all of the event schedule. And the Dolores County 4-H Fair starts Thursday, August 10th here in Dolores County, culminating in the Saturday night Rocky Mountain Oyster Fry and then the final junior rodeo event of the season on Sunday, August 13th. More info on this event is online on their Facebook page, which is linked up from our Facebook page at DCTV News at Noon.
And now for the Dolores County Sheriff's Roundup for the week of July 31st to August 6th. There have been numerous calls in regards to an IRS scam. The call is a recording stating that there is a warrant out for the recipient's arrest and that they must call a phone number to immediately pay the fines and not be arrested. This is a scam. The IRS never emails, texts, or calls anyone unsolicited and will always mail bills to ask for payment prior to making any calls. A town business reported a wallet theft in the restroom by a patron. A deputy picked up the wallet and dispatched a wallet left in there. A deputy picked up the wallet and dispatched located the owner to arrange pickup. San Juan County Sheriff's Office requested assistance in locating an individual reported missing by family members. The individual called their family members stating they were safe. A county resident requested advice on how to handle coyotes that were challenging a service dog. The resident was referred to the Division of Wildlife. A Texas resident requested a welfare check on family members traveling toward Rico in an RV. While on routine patrol in town, an officer noticed possible suspicious activity in a business parking lot. Upon investigation, it was learned a vehicle broke down and motorists were loading the disabled vehicle on a trailer. That's it for this week's Roundup. Stay tuned for continuing updates.
Here's today's High Canyon Country happenings. The Four Corners Backcountry Horsemen will meet at 7 p.m. August 10th at Bayfield Town Hall. Mitch Wilkinson will give a presentation about the history of Mustangs in the United States. He recently visited one of the few herds with horses that have the primitive coloring gene, which has been lost in domestic breeds. The meeting is free and open to all. For more information, contact Chapter President Kathy Roberts at 749-0316 or kathyroberts08@gmail.com or visit online for cbch.org. And don't forget, this Saturday, August 12th, if the skies comply, you'll be seeing the annual Perseids meteor showers. Quite something, but everyone is talking about the eclipse the following week on August 21st. So ahead of time, here are the posted eclipse events happenings in our area. Mancos State Park will host a party and offer 100 pairs of eyeglasses to attendees. Meet at the group picnic area starting at 10 a.m. Light refreshments will be served. Mancos State Park is on County Road N at County Road 42. There's a $7 per vehicle park admission charge. Carpooling is encouraged. The Anasazi Heritage Center will also host an eclipse extravaganza, a free viewing party with hands-on activities, solar viewing equipment, and live feeds from the Path of Totality. Attendees will learn about solar astronomy, sun safety, and cultural connections to the sun. The center is off Colorado Highway 184 in Dolores. Florida Mesa Elementary will host a school-wide eclipse viewing at its campus at 11:20 a.m. on August 21st. The school will provide protective eyewear. The Miller Middle School Parent Action Committee purchased eclipse viewing glasses for students and staff who will watch the solar eclipse at 11:30 a.m. on the school's football field. The Powerhouse Science Center at 1333 Camino del Rio in Durango will host a viewing party from 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. The free event will feature 4 hands-on activities, viewing glasses, and lunar temporary tattoos. Durango Public Library at 1900 East 3rd Avenue will hold its event from 10 a.m. to noon and offer eclipse classes, a variety of solar eclipse themed crafts, arts, and activities. The event is free and open to all. Viewing glasses are available at the library, and community members are welcome to one pair each. If you missed any of those details, don't worry. All of the happenings are listed on the DCTV Facebook page online. If you have news or event information you'd like us to share, send us an email, dcbnnews@gmail.com, or call us at the station, 677-4119.
Thanks for tuning in. A reminder that this program is aired live at noon Monday through Wednesday and rebroadcast at 3 and 6 p.m. and again aired Thursday, Friday, and Saturday in the same order.
And please check us out on Facebook. It's DCTV News at Noon. Like us there, join the local conversation, and share it with a friend.
For Kinder Cook and everyone at DCTV with the News at Noon program out of Dove Creek, I'm Jerry Tope. Thanks for watching.